Good evening, welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4 with El Salvador. We're having a blast cleaning up the new world, but the old world is engaged in World War. The German Reich decided to pick on Poland, and thanks to some little Central American driving up that world tension, there was enough world tension for Poland to join the Allies, and as such Germany has a war on two fronts. Well, not so much a war on two fronts as a war on one front, and the entire disintegration of the Poles on the other. Poland is not holding out all that well. What a shame for them. That said, if you can survive as Poland against Germany in the 39 start, then congratulations to you. That's not a particularly easy task. Still, looks like their days are numbered. They will be gobbled up, and I imagine that the Germans will make good on their Molotov Pact, so that the Soviet Union can take over eastern Poland. We'll see. The war in Spain, the Spanish Civil War, has been raging on for a long time, and the nationalists in Spain have been kept artificially alive thanks to the volunteers from Germany and from Japan. But I think their days are numbered because all they have are the volunteers from Italy, who are probably lost somewhere over in North Africa. And yep, it's going to be a cleaning up day for Jose Diaz. He's going to run this show, and he's going to be potentially part of the Comintern when that happens, which spells bad news for whoever the Soviets decide they want to pick on when all is said and done. We're playing on historical AI focuses, so I could imagine that it's going to be Germany versus Soviet Union, but that's not a given. Let's get that chat back up on the go since I destroyed that. Another bit of not going quite so historically well is Japan. They are getting trounced by China, aggravated by the fact that they decided to declare war on the United States. I'm scratching my head over why. They're going with Axis leaning, so maybe they can drag good old Hitler to help them out in all of this. We'll see how all that works. If you can tell, I'm feeling a touch under the weather, so my voice might be a bit more than normal, but what can you do? Well, what can we do? We are El Salvador. Might as well do a quick update, since I appreciate not everyone was around until San Salvador reached its destiny. We're not quite there yet. We started out with our tiny little one-state, two-province El Salvador nation, decided to conquer Honduras, and then Guatemala, oh man, it's just an exercise in saying these names again. We chewed our way through Central and South America. The first bit of real resistance were the Colombians, but we were able to grab their capital and their other city, giving us enough of the victory points to force them to capitulate. Gobbled up a bit more land until the true menace, that isn't going to help there, the true menace, Venezuela. Now, they put the thumb clamps on us. Tighten the screws there, but we were able to pull through thanks to an incredibly botched naval invasion that saw about 12,000 of our men die for no good reason. All because I didn't protect the port that I grabbed, but hey, you live and learn, don't you? Well, we set up an army. We are all infantry because we simply can't afford anything else yet, but all that's going to change. What I've done is I have assembled an elite force under Jose Francisco Soto, and they are essentially the knife that cuts into any enemy nation. And because I'm a complete sellout, I've renamed some of them according to some of the names that were given to me from Patreon backers, because hey, if you're going to go sellout, go full sellout. The rest are just the meat shields, and they get thrown into the meat grinder. But with the Peru and the Venezuelans taken out, I don't think any of the rest are going to provide too much challenge. Perhaps Argentina will, depends how well I can slice through the nation. Because there's a lot of mountains in the way. I don't have mountaineers, and it's a large country with, okay, their national unity is a bit garbage, so if I make a beeline to Buenos Aires and grab the key cities along the way, yeah, I could well have that. That's something I'm going to have to consider. But in the meantime, we need to get ready for the wars in the south. Now, I'm currently fabricating a claim on Bolivia. I will want to go for Chile after that, and then mop up the south and turn around and ravage Brazil. That said though, it might be an idea to go for Brazil before I start chewing down Argentina, since going through these mountains does not seem good. It'd be my own version of yeah, ploughing through the lowlands as Germany. Well, that's what I'm thinking. We might as well get in position for it. So we're going to set up our front line along Bolivia, get our offensive line going. Now, we shouldn't really need to go much further than La Paz, but it's just going to be a general push forward line. Well, maybe not quite pushing past this horrible river. We'll see how it goes. Because as long as I can encircle and take La Paz, I should be fine. We only have desert around here, but we do have mountains, so the question is, how do I approach this? I will probably take my elites, split them into two, and... yeah, that was the wrong way to do it. Set them all there, then split them in half and get the rest over there. And that will allow me to two-prong my way in. Charging into the mountains, maybe not the wisest idea. I might take the jungle route, even though there's a river crossing. As long as it allows me to push through, I shouldn't have to worry that much. Their army is minuscule. Alright, that's how we'll go then. We'll take the jungle path. Now, what else is going on for our nation? Because there's more than just the units on the map. Okay, there's our air force that I have not been paying too much attention to. Let's move them over here to Arequipa 1. They've got a low capacity, so actually that's maybe not the best of ideas. It can only hold 200 planes. Perhaps what I will do then is have them fly over here. Their range won't be so good, but I'll divide up 200 from there. It might just work. And yeah, let's not have day and night cycle, because unless I'm playing nice and slowly, I don't particularly like that effect. So what else can I do? There's something I was planning on doing but didn't because of being at war. But these guys aren't the elites for nothing. Currently they are just using the standard division that I've made here. But we're going to change that up a bit. We're going to take the Brigada de Infanteria. We're going to edit it and start by duplicating it so we have a new division here. Duplicating allows us to have these 3 infantry without having to spend any extra army experience making it. So we'll just call these the elite foot troops, because I am I've got 2 T's and foot troops. Who knows, but we can change that later, because I have no imagination whatsoever. And what's making them elite is that we're going to be giving them a field hospital, which allows for a bit of trickle back, and it allows them to not lose quite so much experience when they get destroyed. I would like to give them some support artillery, but because I haven't actually researched artillery at all, that's not going to do them any good. Could well be something I look into, but then I would then have to create production lines for artillery, which I don't really have the resources or the spare factories to do so, because we're currently upgrading all of our infantry equipment. But yeah, we'll go with field hospitals. We're going to save that as the elite foot troops. It's now added in there. And I'm going to select my elites here. And I wonder... I want to change you to elite foot troops. It may take a while. We're going to need all of this. Yeah, that's fine. Makes me wonder if there's a quick way to do it for all of these. Maybe there is, but I don't know it right now. Now I'm really wondering if there's a faster way to do it. Oh well, perhaps I'll find it in the future, or perhaps it never was there. In any case, I'll just do it here. So why am I doing this? Well, it allows me to differentiate these guys from the regular foot troops, and I can upgrade them as I see fit. I will in the future probably want to give them better fighting capability, and I could do that with giving them artillery. But I want to give them other things like better reconnaissance, since they're the ones that are going to be doing the offensive fighting. I wouldn't mind giving them some recon units, which are going to need some support equipment, which these guys are already chewing up. I'll probably kick myself if I find a faster way of doing this. But that's okay, means to an end. We'll get it done here. It's funny that what makes these guys elite is the fact that they have field hospitals with them. And good night. Alright, looking alright. So Jake, does it matter where you put brigades in a template? I don't think it does. I could well be wrong, but I don't think it makes a difference if your infantry is here, your artillery is here, your trucks are over here. And then whatever is in the middle. Don't think that makes a difference, but I wouldn't make a promise on that. Jake, can you explain Division Designer? Does it matter if I place my units horizontally or vertically? I already made a short tutorial on the Division Designer, and since this is just us playing as El Salvador, I don't want to get bogged down with explaining things in too great a detail, but perhaps. Well, I'll be damned. Isn't that handy to know? Well, okay, there we go. They're going to need to get those equipment, but we have a good bit of peacetime at the moment, during which I would love to consider changing my laws in some way or another. Going to partial mobilization would be nice, so I don't throw away my factories quite so much. But then again, I would also like to limit my exports, because I'm sending them away. On the topic of exports, now let's not pause here. Remember I grabbed all that oil? We're actually exporting a fair chunk of it. So what are we giving? 8 to the National Spain, 40 to Italy, 24 to Japan, 40 to the German Reich. It's kind of nice. It's pretty damn nice, because it gives us some free factories. So if I go over here to constructions, we'll see we get 14 factories from our exports. Still a good chunk of them get drank up by consumer goods, but it means we have 14 with which to construct buildings. And that means we are going to be getting those military factories that we so desire, and I so desire them. You know, building civilian factories would be nice, but it just takes so many resources to do that. So let's continue building up these military factories, because I'm going to need them for my production lines. I'm only keeping these fighters going because I have them going at good efficiency, otherwise I can't think of much good use for them. Otherwise, these convoys, I think I would rather start having some submarines. We'll get them deployed over here, since I think that's where it matters. And we'll give them... well, they cost as much as convoys, so... there we go. And we'll give them the steel instead of the convoys, so they might actually get done at a reasonable rate. I can get behind that. I need to think of what else I want to produce, though. More motorized are going to be required. Not too much, but as long as we keep a steady stream of supporting motorized, we're good. It's the guns that are required, though. Guns are butter. I'll take guns any day. Can't conquer lands with butter. Is there any real resistance on occupied territories after a peace deal? After a peace deal, resistance is wiped out. It's during occupation that they will rise up. So Germany will annex Poland, for example. Bad example, because they're actually at war with two fronts. I don't know, the Germans annex Czechoslovakia, there's not going to be any uprisings here. But this occupied Polish land will have resistance grow. It's not actually growing due to, what do we have here? They have divisions in the state that drive down the resistance strength. And that is where military police come into things. I will likely be making military police in the future. I want all of these things. I've already gone down this way. I need a faction if I want to get technology sharing going on, and I will be getting a faction. I'll be making a puppet out of one of the guys in the south, factionizing them, and then going forward from there. Equipment effort is not necessary at the moment. I may well go down nuclear effort. Yeah. Why am I going down that road? Because the time of the atom is upon us. It would be nice to get a bit faster research, but what can you do? Well, we can't have manpower, that's for sure. Hilariously, the field hospitals that we set up are going to be draining manpower here. How many do they all require? Look at this, this is Venezuelan. It is Venezuela, right? That is not Venezuela. It's Colombian. So the Colombians have graciously donated some support equipment to us. That's when we took them over. So the Soviet Union got tired of waiting. They decided Poland have to go. It is a dark day for our allied friends. They have the Soviet Union and the German Reich to deal with. That could well mean that Soviets and the Japanese don't decide to skirmish over things. It also means that when Republican Spain come out on top, they could well join the Comintern and then be fighting with the UK. Bad times. And a lot of this has happened because we stirred up world tension like nobody's business. If it wasn't so tense, things would be a-okay. So, something very important has happened now. We have tanks. We have medium tanks, which is something that I was racing towards as best as I could, because they're considerably better than light tanks in my opinion. Yeah, light tanks are fast, but they're not all that armoured. Yeah, I'll take mediums any day. Mediums are a wee chunk more expensive to produce, but that's alright. Thing is, where do they slot into all of this, and how am I going to do everything here? Since I did just chew up my motorized by making all those field hospitals, so let's figure this out. We need to produce medium tanks. We need to produce quite a lot of medium tanks. Let's have it here. We still require quite a few weapons, so I don't want to hamper this. But boy do I need medium tanks, and boy do I need motorized. I just need more factories. There's a little more to it than that. But if I ever want to get my tanks going, and I want my tanks going, then I'm going to have to sort that out. So let's consider our armored division here. I'm not interested in light tanks. We're just going to switch those out for medium tanks. Bish, bash, and bosh. Heck, maybe I want more medium tanks than that. We'll go with 4. These are going to be super elite ones. They're going to need some maintenance. Field hospitals, I'm a firm believer in. The other 3 will probably be used for recon and probably logistics. But I also need some motorized to go with that. A couple of motorized should do for now. I will make a better one later, and this will be our armored division. It's expensive, but this is going to be required, so we're going to be using up quite a lot of our points on that. I'm also going to take the medium tank that I made, and actually forget the medium tank, we're going to make our variant. So, medium tank, Mark 1, I need it to be reliable. I need this stuff to not break down in the heat of battle. So we'll pump that up. I would love to up the main gun, so we get ourselves a bit more attack. But it costs more the more upgrades that you do, so I think upping reliability to, yeah, even to 3. It's going to use up our 30 army experience, but that I can get behind, so long as our tanks don't break down so much. Jake the Riga tank, sure, why not? Well, why not is because I say so. So we're going to save that. It's going to be our medium tank Mark 1, and that's what we're going to produce. Since we produce it from the very start, there's no need to worry. Well, production efficiency is pretty non-existent, actually. What if I cancel that and make another medium tank? Okay, no, it started with no... what's the word I'm looking for here? Production efficiency. I know I need these guns, but let's put a fair chunk of it into making these tanks, because boy do I need these tanks. But I also need support equipment. We produce infantry equipment fast enough, at least. But it's those tanks that I really want. I'm going to need some tungsten. I'll need to import a couple of units of that until I find my own glorious production. Otherwise, yeah, this looks okay. Not producing those fighters anymore. Well, too bad. They're not exactly doing it for us. This looks okay. Perhaps our good friends in America can sell us some more of that tungsten that we so badly need. How do medium tanks compare with heavy tanks, Jake? I'd actually bring that up. So, heavy tank and medium tank. Let's compare it to the early one that we could have had. Medium on the left, heavy on the right. So, same breakthrough, better soft attack from the medium, better hard attack from the medium actually, probably because the medium tank is so much further on. Let's compare it with heavy tank 2 and medium tank 2. Here we go. So, well, there are the stats. I'm sure you have eyes, you can try reading that. It's just that the armor is so much better on that heavy tank, but I'll take the cheapness of the medium tank any day. Also, the medium tank requires tungsten and the heavy tank requires chromium. We don't have particularly great access to either of these resources. We can check over at the trade, or I think production is a better way to look at it. We're burning in a lack of tungsten. We have a little bit of chromium from where we started out. Whew. But where was I? I need that tungsten. United States, surely you can help us out. Just score us a couple. We have spare factories to send your way. I want to get these better infantry doodads, but I also want my tanks to be better. I said I would always keep researching doctrine. Let's stay true to that. I want those engineers. I just want everything. Is that too much to ask? We'll keep the time flowing, and as soon as we're reasonably through with this, which we are, I'll start looking towards other people that need to go. Paraguay, I think, do need to go. I mean, they are dangerously red. Even if we took them over, I think it would be better if they just existed as our puppet. So yes, Paraguay, you're going to go down as well. We have the spare PP to be doing this. I kind of wish I was using PP on something else. Ooh, armor reliability +5. Yes. Yes, please. With that, I probably didn't need to research added reliability for you, but that's too bad. The fall of Warsaw. German forces advancing in Poland have succeeded in capturing Warsaw. Sporadic fighting continues. Too bad for them. Goodbye, Poland. Fell to the might of the Reich and the Soviet Union. And I don't think France is going to hold up too well against both of these guys. We'll see just how that goes for them. Jake, why don't you switch to a war economy? Let's have a look at what we mean there. We could go for war economy. That means our factories stop getting chewed up quite so much. Now our military factories also get produced so much faster. But yeah, that's great. But I would rather have my better tanks. Get that extra reliability. And we research them faster. Should have done that a while back, come to think of it. So with Paraguay and Bolivia down, perhaps I should turn my attention to Argentina, since I'll have a smaller border to deal with them. But I can also tie up a lot of their troops here, since they will need to defend, and it gives me a much easier time to punch through something. Plus there are all these rivers getting in the way. Well, there's not a river here. We can break on through, cleave our way here. We'll mince their first lines and just dart across the river, and once we do, it's just a case of pushing our way. Argentina have a whole lot of population that I would like to press into my impressive army. Soviet troops have occupied eastern Poland officially for the purpose of protecting the Belarusian and Ukrainian minorities from the chaos that followed. A likely story. I wonder how long the French can hold here. Well, good luck to them. Jake, I remember reading that the manufacturing bonus only applies to designs made after buying the manufacturer. Has it changed, or do you need to spend more army experience? Huh, that's a good point, and something that I should investigate. Listen up here, tank. Oops, oh shoot, I should not have clicked there. Unsure, maybe it only matters after researching them. Well, we'll find out soon. Can't worry about these things, what is done is done. So I plan to break on through here, surround the capital, and completely destroy Bolivia. Paraguay will fall soon after that. And then after that, Argentina have got to go. Yeah, I mean, I could take Chile first, but Chile would be so easy to take if we have Argentina first. Also, Argentina are building up too fast for my liking. I'm going to have to break them down. How are we doing then? Logistics. Everything is looking positive. Not by a lot, but at least it is positive. Including those fighters, which I needed to break up. What I want to do is split the air wing. No, not quite in two. Oh, Luxembourg. They got declared upon and instantly became part of the Allies. Right, so what am I looking at here? We'll get 200 right there. Groovy. I'm just going to get rid of that. There's probably not going to reach anyway. Move you over here. And then, where are we going to be fighting anyway? We're actually split a bit between the Amazonas and South America when dealing with Bolivia. Bolivia themselves have a very small air force. So again, I'll probably just take this, splitting it half.